Yes, welcome back. You're still watching Citizen Extra, the Monday edition with me, Fred, in the Muli in studio. We do have Dr. Sam Kamau, political analyst, Joy Mdivo, governance analyst, and we're now joined by Dunstan Omari, an advocate of the High Court and also a political analyst. Good morning, Dunstan. Karibu sana.
Good morning, Fred. And how are you doing?
Good, good.
Perfect.
Yes, of course, you're still following what the proceedings at the KICC, where the IEBC continues to receive nomination papers from nominees and aspirants for the presidential race. We've just seen what has happened this morning. One of those aspirants, that's Justice Z.O. Juma of the Justice and Freedom Party, has had his nomination papers rejected because of a few issues here and there to do with this proposal. Second, they belong to other different parties. Signatures are not up to the required standard. Now, this is what we're discussing, Dunstan, and when you decide to run for the presidency, you really must be prepared. Issues like signatures and your proposal of seconder being not members of your party should be the very last things that should come up to actually block you, because that's a simple technicality, don't you think?
Well, Fred, I don't agree with you sincerely, and I don't agree with the IEBC. There is what is called notice. These presidential aspirants presented their documents prior to today. Those signatures were presented to the IEBC. What the hell are they keeping information? The members who are Jubilee members is a preserve of the IEBC to know who is a member of a political party. Why couldn't they have told Juma yesterday, or yesterday but one, that these are the issues that are pending, so that once a candidate appears there, it is only to sign. It shouldn't be an ambush, and this is not proper. Suppose they told Raila Odinga yesterday, but there was an issue. What would have happened? It could turn out to be a security risk. Today the president is going there at 2:30. Suppose the president is told that one of his seconders is an ODM.
Do you think that the Jubilee Party or the President Uhuru Kenyatta's team could actually allow that to happen? That there could be such issues with the President Uhuru Kenyatta's nomination papers to do with the signatures?
Fred, what my position is this. The IEBC could have verified these documents in advance. The question about certification of degrees could have been done long time ago. Why the hell do they wait until a candidate arrives there, with all the people ferried there, with all the anxiety of their own nation, then you are told your certificate is not certified? That could have been done everywhere, worldwide. Every exam, there's a rehearsal. I teach at the Catholic University. There is rehearsal before graduation. In rehearsal, you are counter-checking whether all the documents are in place. I'm not trying to justify the lack of due diligence. I'm not trying to justify the lack of due diligence on the aspirants, but the pressure to assemble the documents the IEBC wants is monumental. It could have assisted access to justice. That, in advance, present these things, let us look at them, we tell you, correct this, correct this, correct this. And that is very fast. Or either, Juma might have done that to attract attention. You know very well, we saw Dida saying that his were not certified. Within 10 minutes, they were certified. I know there are quite a number of commissioners of votes, lawyers outside there who are making a kill out of that. Could it be a political strategy for Juma and Dida to do what they are doing and Joe Nyaga?
Do you think that it is a strategy that it can actually work to their favor if they create such ruckus during the presentation of nomination papers?
They are not contesting to win an election. They are contesting to have their names in the annals of history. One of the annals of history is that they were chased. They blame somebody for being chased from the IEBC, and still they qualify. That aside, it is a circus that we do not expect the nation to contain.
Let me interrupt you there, Dunstan Omari, because we're getting live pictures from the KICC, and we do understand that's a second candidate this morning arriving there to present his nomination papers for the race for the presidency. I'm yet to get the name.
Erastus?
Yes, that's Erastus Nyamera, and we'll be linking up with our reporter Sam Gituku for more details because he is there. Sam, please take us through what's happening right now at the KICC.
Right, this is the second presidential aspirant for the day to appear before the IEBC commissioners, and as he writes his name, let's just confirm that he is indeed Erastus And the name we see there is Michael Wainaina. So this is Michael Wainaina, not Erastus Nyamera. Michael Wainaina, an independent candidate, who is also looking to be a presidential candidate for the August 8th general election. Of course, this is a very important process, Fred. It also helps us to put the name to the face. As they write their names down on the paper, then that is clear that indeed we are dealing with the right person, instead of just assuming that they are the second persons to appear and so they are Erastus. When they write it down, we are sure that this is Michael Wainaina, an independent candidate. And I must say, the second, if I'm not mistaken, the second aspirant who is an independent after Joe Nyaga to appear before the IEBC. The first independent aspirant, Joe Nyaga, was turned back on some few issues that he needs to correct and comply. And of course, he's lined up, he's together with...
It's okay, please come and look at us.
He's together with Professor Wainaina? Oh, that's a supporter. Right, so, as I was saying, so Michael Wainaina makes his way to the VIP room. This has been the tradition for all the candidates to make their way into this facility, which is the holding room. Of course, an important process that we have, or that the IEBC have to take the aspirants through for them to be briefed on what to expect. And there is the same seat that all presidential aspirants, apart from Raila Odinga, have sat. Yesterday, Raila Odinga and his entourage sat on a different seat, but the others have been consistent, taking those particular seats. I want to believe that the lady next to Wainaina is the running mate, but we cannot say that for certainty. We have to wait until we are able to confirm. So that's actually the lady's supporter. The running mate is on her way to take her seat. There she is. There is the running mate on your screen as she takes her seat. That is the second lady running mate that we have seen after Mary Wamboi, the running mate for Justice Juma, albeit they have been disqualified, rather their papers have been rejected until further notice. And so there is the aspirant having his moment to quench the thirst. It's been a long journey preparing for the presidency and get into this process that they get a chance to review their papers. We have to give them some moment so that they settle down, then we can make an attempt of talking to them, and I think that is possible. In a moment now, they are conferring with one of the supporters. They're conferring. Let's give them that moment, that respect. As soon as they are ready, we can talk to them live on TV. Hi, good morning. This is Citizen TV. You're live on there, and congratulations for making it to this point. And I think we would rather start from you introducing yourself to us, because we just know Michael Wainaina, but who is this?
Yes, I am a presidential candidate running on an independent ticket. Yes. Professor, yes, I am a professor of literature, but I'm a retired professor of literature. Yes, I am literature teacher. I'm a professor of literature.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. As I said, congratulations for making it to this point. And we have seen so many others before you. We have seen another independent candidate, Joe Nyaga. He was disqualified yesterday, but he has to come back later today. We have seen 3 other belonging to political parties. One of them has been, his bid has been rejected. 3 others have been cleared. What do you think? Will you make it?
I don't know what you mean by rejected. I am not so sure that the IEBC has yet rejected any. I think they are. The process is long, and I can understand when some people have 1 or 2 documents that probably need to be relooked at. I definitely wish everybody the best. I know how tedious the process is, so I wouldn't rush to say they've been rejected, or I wouldn't rush to pass judgment until the IEBC makes a judgment. I have a good team that has been working on this for a very long time. What happens is that when you see us here, you imagine that this is it, but there's a lot of work that goes into preparing this. I have a very able team that has been working very, very hard to make sure that this happens. I think for us and for the team, it is a milestone, and we are confident that the process will go as expected.
And Prof, you're getting into a very tight race. There are quite some political sharks. Are you one of them, or are you a fish?
What do you mean by political sharks?
Political sharks in the sense that there are two main political formations, the National Super Alliance and the Jubilee Party, and they seem to have quite some influence across the country. Do you think you'll be in a position to make it to the 50% plus one vote come August 4th, or rather August 8th?
We do need to appreciate, and you people in the media do need to appreciate something. Politics is about the people. Politics is not about politicians. And I think every politician has a right to peacock and has a right to say how much support he has. I mean, that's the business of politics. But let me tell you that the business of democracy is to listen to the voice of the people. And the people haven't spoken. The people will speak on 8th of August. Before then, let the politicians say what they want to say. You can call them sharks. I'm not even sure that actually calling them sharks is a compliment, that now that you choose to call them sharks, maybe they are sharks. So let them define themselves the way they want. Let us define ourselves the way we may. Let us take our message to the people, because ultimately it's about the people.
So how do you intend to make it to the ballot and ensure that you are the President of the Republic of Kenya?
I don't know what you mean by how do I intend. What do you want to know?
Well, let me just explain. How have you planned your campaign process to ensure that you convince Kenyans to vote for you and that you win the election?
We will talk to Kenyans. We will talk to Kenyans. That is number one. Like now we are doing. We are talking to them. I don't know how else you want me to talk to them. This is a process. And I think for us, we had the campaign team, when they were looking at this, we had compartmentalized it into two: pre-nomination activities and post-nomination activities. And the campaign team is well prepared for the post-nomination activities, but remember that we are supposed to be at the last stretch of the pre-nomination, and what happens today determines where we go from here. But in terms of plans and in terms of being prepared to talk to the people, we are prepared to talk to the people, and we are talking to the people.
Okay, all right. All the best, Professor Michael Wainaina, an independent presidential aspirant. Let's make an attempt to talk to the running mate. Of course, some might argue that we are favoring the running mate, but she's the second female running mate you've seen, or rather part of the second female you've seen in the presidential ticket. First of all, introduce us to you and why you're in this.
Okay, and my name is Miriam Tua. I'm into this because I'm also Kenyan. I'm a citizen of this country, and everyone has a right to lead the country if they feel that they can be able to. Professor and I, we have our own plan and the way we think that we can be able to lead this country. It has been led by several people, the ones that you're calling the sharks, and I think all of us can be sharks. There's no one. The shark name is just about if you do it well. And I think this is a time for change. This is a time that Kenyans need a change, and the change is here.
I asked a question to Prof, your presidential candidate, but I want to ask it to you so that I hear if you have some more details. How do you intend to really campaign across the country to convince 19.7 million voters that you are the right pair to lead this country?
Good question. We have our way that we are planning to do this campaign. We want to do it through social media, and because we know people have become, they've gone so much into social media, and also going to people themselves, campaigning, the outdoor campaign that we could probably, we do the door-to-door campaign, we do the major campaign, to massive, the way campaigns are done in Kenya. So that's what we're planning to do.
Are you confident to win?
We will win. We will win. Okay. Yes. Right. Winning, you have to believe that you win for you to win. If you don't believe that you don't win,
right?
Yes, we do. We will win.
Thank you so much, Fred. That has been Ms. Mutua, running mate of Professor Michael Wainaina, talking to us about how they plan to ensure that the campaign is successful, to ensure that they get to State House during the election, August the 8th. But we'll wait to see if they will declare, because now from here they have to go through the process by IBC consideration, and just like what happened to Justus a few moments ago when he was before the IBC commissioners, they'll have to have their documentation reviewed. So maybe we can just track where that documentation is to see if there is any progress on that side, or they are looking for, so that you can tell if there are any concerns in as far as those documents are concerned. Because as you heard from the first candidate for the morning, Justus Juma, there were issues with the documentation as early as even before the commissioners came through. So let's see what is happening as they peruse through the documents of Professor Michael Wainaina and his running mate, Ms. Mutua. So there you have it. Those are the booklets carrying the signatures of at least 40,000 voters across the country. And this is, of course, some of the things that they're looking at. They're now looking at the ID cards of the candidate or the aspirant and the running mate. They have received this documentation from the agents of the two aspirants as they appear before ABC. So they have to go through this. I believe currently what they're talking about, they're talking to the supporters of these two, and the question that has been posed is whether they have ever checked their status of being a registered member. And why that is important, Fred, is because if any candidate is independent, then at least their proposer and seconder have to belong to, they have to be partyless. That is to mean they have to be independent to the true sense of the word. And we don't know what the situation is. Maybe they have found a record showing that one of them belongs to a political party. That we don't know, but we'll wait to hear from the IBC commissioners. It's just one of the concerns that they are looking at. And currently they are looking at the document that shows the statutory declaration for purposes of nomination for election. It is the form that gives the authority of an aspirant to really be considered as an applicant of leading the country. Of course, Fred, the process will be very similar to what happened to Justus Juma, so I think we have to they can continue to monitor the situation as it proceeds here, but of course we'll be sure to rejoin you as soon as the aspirants are ready to move into the hall where IEBC commissioners will be waiting for them. So now I think I hand back to you so that you can proceed on with your discussion in studio, of course, as you monitor the live pictures from the KICC Shimba Hills Hall. Fred.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. Sam Gituku there live from Shimba Hills at the KICC. Very interesting pictures coming from there. Even as we await for Professor Michael Wainaina Mwaura, one of the independent candidates for the presidency, to present his nomination papers to the IEBC. In studio, we still have Joy Mdivo, governance analyst, Dunstan Omaria, constitutional lawyer, also political analyst, and Dr. Sam Kamau, political analyst. In a short while, we'll be joining Hassan Mugambi, who is on the president's trail. Remember, the President Uhuru Kenyatta is on a tour of Nairobi as he prepares to present his nomination papers to the IEBC later on in the afternoon. But just listening to Professor Wainaina Mwaura, Michael Wainaina Mwaura, even as we await as he presents his papers, Joy, is this another one that you feel will probably not meet all the requirements? Does he look well prepared to you? Because even he's already accusing the media of having bias even before he gets there.
I know Professor Wainaina anecdotally though, but from my interaction with him, he strikes me as being a very conscientious fellow. So I would imagine he would have all his T's crossed and all his I's dotted. However, if you recall, the IEBC made the process, and the political parties made the process of registering members of political parties digital. So you may collect your 40,000 signatures, even make it 50,000, but when it's input in the system, they may pop up that some are political party members, and therefore they would be rejected and you would fall short. So as he has said correctly, it may not be that on his part he feels that he did not meet the criterion, but it may be that when he gets to the IEBC and the register of political parties that he may find he falls short. For an independent, it's very difficult because the people who you're collecting signatures from must also be independent. And that makes it very difficult because remember the saga we had last time, people finding themselves registered from M-Pesa records and whatnot, find yourself in some party that you didn't even know existed. So on that score, I am a bit apprehensive that he may not jump all the hurdles, but anything that is within his power to control, knowing Professor Wainaina, I am sure he has kept his corner clean. Yes,
of course, what Joy says is very true, that political parties have not always been playing clean. Quite a number of political parties have previously been caught out as they try to recruit members into the parties in using unorthodox methods, so that I may find myself as a member of one particular party that without my knowledge. Now, as an independent candidate, anyone who endorses you, or even the signatures endorsing your candidature, have to be from people who are partyless. How easy do you think that is?
Well, Fred, I think there are two issues here. Number one, of course, is the supporters, where I think the court made a ruling, and therefore now, because they are not independent voters, so to speak, I think that should not be a challenge. But when it comes to the person proposing and seconding you, it is your responsibility. We cannot shift that responsibility to the IEBC to make sure that the person proposing you and seconding you meets the requirements, because like we saw in the case of Justus, the rejection of his papers was on some very basic things. And even going back to what my colleague here was saying, almost shifting the responsibility or the blame for the unpreparedness of some of these candidates to the IEBC. It is a responsibility certifying the document, having your document certified. It's a basic, very simple issue, which is something you should have done a long time ago. So even as we see, we know there is apprehension because you never know some of the issues that would come up, but IEBC held a meeting with all these candidates, prepared them, they understand what to expect, and these issues are very basic. They are not so big that you would say you are disqualified on the basis of something so major that you are not able to meet. They are basic issues, and I'm sure they have taken time. And even based on what happened yesterday, I am sure there was still time for Justus to have gone and gotten his certificates certified before coming there today. So I think basic criteria. But this process, of course, is meant to separate those people who are seriously running for president and those who are just looking for some minutes in the spot. So
it is actually a very crucial process to actually reduce the number of candidates we have in the race for president. And even as we speak, we're seeing live pictures there. Another candidate for presidency has arrived at the KICC. That's Kwajirongo Shakalaga. Of course, he's popularly known as Cyrus Jirongo, but according to the records from IEBC, this is Kwajirongo Shakalaga. He of the United Democratic Party, UDP. He's already there, and Sam Gituku, I'm sure, has an update already for us. Sam, if you can hear me, take it away.
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Fred, as you said, yes, Kwajirongo is here, but from my peeking of the window, I can see another candidate, Joe Nyaga. He's making his return to the KICC, but first I think we speak to Kwajirongo. You said another name there that's a bit difficult for me to pronounce, but Mheshimiwa, congratulations for making it here. Maybe if we may talk to you shortly. And of course, Fred, this is Kwajirongo, the party leader of United Democratic Party, if I'm not mistaken. Congratulations for making it here. And first of all, how does it feel tabling your papers before the IEBC?
We're ready, just fulfilling one of the things we are set to do, and I'm sure we should be able to be cleared, and we move forward to the next stage. Yeah, it feels good.
Okay, you're quite an experienced politician in terms of being involved in the politics of this country. Why did you decide to vie instead of support another candidate who might be a front runner, in quotes?
Yes. To say the truth is that for a long time I've been associated with NASA, but there are certain things which I believe must be attended to in this country. And one of my parting shots with NASA was basically the leadership of Nairobi. Nairobi gives the image of the Republic of Kenya. And those of you who live in Nairobi know exactly what the residents of Nairobi have gone through. Their high rate of unemployment in Nairobi is partially contributed to by the corruption of the county government. I say so, and I must declare I'm a victim. The only way we can create employment for the many young people in this town is to encourage investment. The county government of Nairobi is unwilling to encourage investment. Secondly, Nairobi is cosmopolitan. Every community lives in this town. Right. And if you look at the leadership today proposed for Nairobi County government by the so-called front runners in quotes, you cannot have the chief executive coming from one community and then you come up with 60 MC aspirants from the same community. What are you telling Kenyans? You are telling Kenyans that you as a community want to run both the county government and the executive.
But Mheshimiwa, right.
I raised, and they raised a lot of temperatures, and I made up my mind that really we must talk our walk. We should not. Today, I know the hottest topic on the table today is the high cost of living. But remember, we are going to live with whatever we do on August 8th for another 5 years without changing.
So how exactly do you intend to make it to be the President of the Republic of Kenya?
They are voters, and election is about numbers. Secondly, there are certain rules in the Constitution that one must adhere to. At least get at least 24 counties and raise enough numbers to give you 50 plus 1. And we are beginning with the end in mind. How do we raise this number? And that's the number we'll be working on very seriously.
But tell me, you know very clearly that NASA and Jubilee enjoy quite some massive following in the country. Where is United Democratic Movement or the United Democratic Party and Khwajirongo in ensuring that you clinch the presidency?
Give us 30 days of work and you'll notice the difference. We know what to do. We know how to approach the ground. We are not new at this game. We've done it before. We know exactly how to approach the whole game. In another 30 days, when we talk, you realize that Kenya is not the same again. Yeah.
In the past you have expressed interest of vying for the presidency, but eventually you dropped out. This time round, are you in it for the longest?
We are up to the end. I can't be here to submit my document if I have any other thought other than the deep feeling that we need to harness what is good for this country. And to harness it, I've tried it through friends, I've tried it through supporting people. It's not working. Why can't I do it myself? Because I know exactly what it is. My running mate is Mr. Orina. My name Momanyi. Yes.
And Orina Momanyi, what do you bring into this ticket of the presidential candidature of Khwajirongo?
We bring in energy. We are people. I come from a community that is energized, aggressive in everything that we do, and I believe that's what this party needs. And Jirongo is the kind of person who will make many things move. And here I come in just to be able to support him and energize him, make him even stronger than he is, or people think he is.
As Deputy President candidate, what do you think your main agenda is?
There are many issues, but we want to concentrate as a party on creating employment for young people. The rate of unemployment in this country is basically a bomb waiting to explode. I am myself a management student, and there are many ways of creating employment. There are many ways of making sure the young people are engaged, and the current leadership doesn't seem to think about the youth. We are saying we must be able to do something out of the box, that which people have tried. You do not take a young man and give him 300 shillings every day on NYS project and say you are creating employment. You must be able to sustain whatever you create.
Thank Thank you, Momanyi and Khwajirongo. All the best as you go to have your papers processed, and hopefully we'll have to choose between you and the rest come August the 8th. Right, Fred, that has been Khwajirongo, the candidate of the United Democratic Party. Let's try to walk to where Joe Nyaga is standing. As I told you, he is here on a repeat appearance. After yesterday, he was sent back because there are some details that he was missing. Let's see if we can have a chat with him. And Mheshimiwa Joe Nyaga, we were with you yesterday. Congratulations for making it worth the get to come back here.
Thank you.
Is everything in order?
I've behaved.
Also.
Today, I have all the papers that we are requested to do. So I look forward to completing the process, and I do apologize to IEBC and to the Kenyans for the confusion that I created yesterday, and to my supporters. God is real. Imagine if I was the last one to present at 4 p.m. today and there was no time to go and collect a banker's check. It has happened. We are ready and look forward to this process so they can begin our campaign this week.
But some Kenyans have been asking, why did you have to deposit 250,000, or rather, why did you have to write a 250,000 shilling check while all was needed is 200,000?
You know what happened? When we were being briefed, the notes that we made from the briefings by IBC, we thought they said 250,000 Kenya shillings. Then, the form that they gave us said 200,000. And since it was late on Friday, we were not sure. We did not take a chance. We thought it's better to make a mistake, because when we tried to call, we couldn't get through. So we decided it's better to make a mistake by putting 250 banker's check than one of 200. But all is well that ends well.
Okay. And your running mate, you have your...
But as I told you yesterday, the other thing was, I think part of it is excitement. Having doing this for the first time, I think that must have influenced. We will check. Now we've done a very thorough checkup, and we are sure we've done what needs to be done.
Your running mate had an issue with the code of conduct document. Is that sorted, and what was the real issue?
It was sorted yesterday, and the issue was that the code of conduct had been signed but not yet to be commissioned. So we were just waiting for it to be commissioned, but that took time. By the time it was, we were already done with the process here. That was the only issue.
I know I spoke to your candidate yesterday, but today let me ask you the question: what is your real agenda as deputy president candidate in this race?
The country is in a mess. The country has been split between back, left and center. What we have to do as a country, we need to reclaim our glory, because we have the youths in this country who are jobless. But the guys who are leading the country, the people who are leading the country right now, have no idea what they need to do. They have never been jobless. Sorry?
What idea do you have to correct that?
We have several ideas we can talk about, and me and Mr. President, we have a manifesto that we will address at the right time.
Okay. At the right time, he says that is the running mate of presidential contender Joseph Nyaga, indicating that they have an agenda for the country. But what is it? We'll have to wait until the right time comes when they can release it to us. But of course, that is the situation here. We have the presidential candidate, or the aspirant, Joe Nyaga, on that side. On my right, we have Khwajirongo. It still gives me trouble not to call him Cyrus. And then to the extreme, well, opposite where I'm standing, we have the other presidential candidate, Professor Michael Wainaina, still waiting to be processed by the IEBC officials, the commissioners. So in a minute we'll be expecting to move to the room, the hall, the Shimba Hills Hall, where the IEBC commissioners will be waiting for this particular aspirant. But when that time comes, Fred, we'll be sure to link up with you. But for now, we leave you the live pictures so that we can proceed on to monitor the other situations happening within and around the KICC, Shimba Hills, and its surrounding spread.
Thank you, Samson Gituku there. Of course, we'll be coming back to you at the Shimba Hills at the KICC as we get to see more presidential candidates being processed by the IEBC. We do understand next up will be Professor Michael Wainaina Mwaura, then Khwajirongo Shakalaga of the United Democratic Party, and Joseph William Nviga Nyaga, also another independent candidate. Also live on your screens, we can see live pictures there from Pipeline. That's crowds already forming there in anticipation of the arrival of President Uhuru Kenyatta, who will be making a stopover there. And of course, Hassan Mugambi will be on the president's trail. He is at Pipeline as we speak. Elsewhere along Jogoo Road, which is also part of the route that President Uhuru Kenyatta will use as he goes to the KICC to present his nomination papers. You can also see live pictures there. Stephen Leto will be there and will be giving us an update once President Uhuru Kenyatta begins his trip, or rather his tour of the city. Remember, the president is expected to be giving, or rather handing over, presenting his nomination papers to the IEBC later in the afternoon. We'll be linking up with either one of these two reporters, that's Hassan Mugambi and Stephen Leto, shortly. In the meantime, let's come back to studio. We're still here with the analysts, Dr. Sam Kamau and Joy Ndivo. We do not even understand why do you think probably Cyrus Jirongo had to change his name for this particular race? Dr. Sam Kamau, Kwa Jirongo Shakalaga, we know this gentleman, we've seen the picture, so we can confirm from video that it is the same man that we've been hitherto referring to as Cyrus Jirongo. Why do you think he changed his name for this particular race?
Well, Fred, I think we've seen a trend in this country where people acquire certain names or use certain names maybe to indicate their popularity or the way people know them. Although for Jirongo, he is doing it in reverse. I think if it's for Tito, he wanted Babayao to be officially part of his official recognition. I'm not sure why Kwa Jirongo, I mean, we've known him for many years as Cyrus Jirongo would want to rebrand at this particular point in time, because it's even confusing. We are not exactly sure. In fact, if you go to the ballot, to vote, assuming he's cleared, and you see Kwa Jirongo, you're not sure whether it's actually Jirongo.
But I'm getting a clarification from one of my senior editors that it is indeed his name, Kwa Jirongo Shakalaga. That has always been his name. It's only that he's been using Cyrus Jirongo. But don't you think that, yes, fine, it could be his official name, but this could confuse the voters come election day? You know this gentleman as Cyrus Jirongo. Then he has to use his real name, probably that is on his ID, Kwa Jirongo Shakalaga.
But that might work to his advantage. If you don't recognize him as Cyrus Jirongo, and maybe you're an undecided voter, and you turn up in the box and you said, oh, this looks like a nice exotic name, and you decide to pick it. But it's like you said, many of these politicians, the names on the ID don't match the popular name. And like Sam has correctly pointed out, it has become a trend for politicians to actually change their name to what is more popularly known for easier recognition. I think what Honorable Jirongo is looking at is that he has face recognition. And because their photographs will be on the ballot, he's not too worried that the change of name at this stage will seriously jeopardize his chances. So I think he just decided, you know what, let's take a risk. Let's go with it. Let people know me for who I am. I'm now a man. I'm coming of age. Because I would imagine Cyrus is also his name. But he's just trying to be a little bit more colorful. Like we said also with, you think his member Shinyalu, Silva Sanami, he also started using his native names rather than his English name more officially. I think he's hoping to endear himself to the voters. That way, by being a bit more exotic. Yes, and an interesting moment happening live there on your screens. You can see two of the presidential candidates who are running on independent tickets. Yes. With their running mates having a chit-chat. That's Professor Michael Wainaina Mwaura alongside his running mate, as well as Joe Nyaga. Joe William Viga Nyaga. We need to be careful and read out all the names as listed by the IEBC. Joseph William Viga Nyaga, also an independent candidate. They're having a chit-chat. Is that Pete Ondeng?
Yeah, that looks like Pete Ondeng.
Yes, in a short while we'll be going back to Pipeline, where we do understand Hassan Mugambi is now ready with an update, because crowds are already forming in anticipation of President Uhuru Kenyatta's arrival at the Pipeline stage in Embakasi. That is where the president is supposed to begin his tour of the city this morning, while en route to the IEBC to present his nomination papers later in the afternoon. Hassan Mugambi, I can see it's looking bright and busy behind you. How is it at Pipeline stage, Hassan?
Well,
Well, it is very, very busy here at the pipeline stage. Crowds milling around to welcome President Uhuru Kenyatta. This is where he is going to be starting his journey to the IEBC to just present his papers and get a nod from the IEBC as a symbolic, symbolizing what he or his people are terming that he is seeking the nod first from the citizenry before getting it from the IEBC, and this is where he is expected to start. We are informed that he is en route to this place. Crowds milling to just get to hear what he will be saying, because he will be he together with the team Nairobi of the Jubilee party here, that is the gubernatorial aspirant Mike Sonko and current senator, as well as the senatorial aspirant Johnson Sakaja. They will be here and they will be addressing the crowds just to seek to woo the voters of Embakasi East in general to just support them in the next general election. We're expecting that he will be starting his journey here, then follow the Outer Ring Road and all through to the Outer Ring to Goro Junction, where he will be addressing another crowd, as well as the Makadara area and Wakulima Market, and then Muthurwa. Then he will be making his way into the city to just present his paper after getting to address another crowd at the Kencom bus stop inside Nairobi. Among the things that we are expecting him to be speaking about here, because previously he has not been shy, he has not been, he has wasted no time in as far as drumming up support for Jubilee is concerned. Right now, as you can see right behind me, is that the Outer Ring Road, the section of Outer Ring Road that is here, is under construction, and we're expecting that this is one of the things that he will be seeking support from Kenyans to get to continue with his with the next 5-year term, so that he can continue to finish up this particular project that was started earlier on in his term. So these are some of the things that we're expecting him to be speaking about. Development records, because he has also previously said that he will be judged in as far as his development record is concerned. And currently the crowds are milling around, and we're just going to speak to some of the people who are here and want to just say 1-2 about whatever it is that has brought them here. First of all, let's begin with your name. Unaitwa nani?
Dennis Omalwa.
Dennis Omalwa, umetoka maeneo gani na umekuja hapa kwa nia gani?
Paipu nimekuja kuangalia Uhuru Kenyatta, president wetu wa Kenya.
Unatarajia kwamba hapa hii leo atakwambia nini?
Leo atasema maendeleo ya Kenya, vile amefanya, vile amejenga barabara, ndio hizo tumejenga hapa hivi. Tumefurahia sana kiongozi wetu wa Kenya.
Na je, wewe kama Mkenya ambaye umejitokeza hapo, utakuwa unaendelea ama unaelekea katika city ya Nairobi, utakuwa unaelekea pamoja na rais, ama utamsikiza tu ukiwa hapa na uendelea na shughuli zako?
Hapana, sote paka tananiozo huko hivyo. Wote tu kabisa huko hivyo. Rais mpaka huko hivyo wote tu.
Labda tupate maoni ya mwenzako hapa. Kwanza kabisa tueleze unajulikana kama nani?
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Richard Musyoka wa Mwaka. Ile kitu na expect ya president anabaa kutuahidi ni ya kwamba maisha yatakuwa rahisi yakirudi tena, kwa sababu tunaona unga, tunaambiwa unga hiko, unga 90 shillings hakuna. Unaenda kwa manduka unaambiwa ni 130. Sasa unashindwa hii unga iko pande gani ya Kenya?
Na sababu je, wewe unamunga rais mkono hata baada ya unga kupanda kama unavyosema katika chini ya uongozi wake?
Chini ya uongozi wa rais si mbaya, kiongozi yako sawa kabisa. Mimi sijaona dosari yoyote, hata amekuwa mtu mzuri na anasikiza watu na anachukua maoni ya wengi, lakini tunashukuru kwa hayo.
Kwa hivyo utakuwa unaandamana naye ama umemalizia hapa?
Tutaandamana naye mpaka apeleke makaratasi yake, kwa sababu ni kiongozi wetu na tuwezi acha aende peke yake. Lazima apewe motisha asikia kweli ako na watu wamemshika mkono.
Shukran sana. That is the kind of feeling that you get here at Embakasi East, in Pipeline, to be specific, because they are saying that they will be accompanying the president, and their journey is not going to end from this particular stop, or rather the beginning of the president's journey today, but they are going to accompany the president all the way to KICC, where he will be also addressing another rally after presenting his papers at the Comesa grounds. The grounds just outside the KICC building. So maybe one other person here is just itching to say something towards the presidential visit to this place. Ujambo
kabisa. Jambo kabisa.
Na unaitwa nani kwanza?
Majina yangu kamili naitwa Eric Ongeri almaarufu Ocampo.
Yes, Ocampo, kama wewe umejitokeza hapa hii leo kusikiza yale ambayo rais atakuwa anasema, unatarajia azungumzie yepi?
Nataka rais azungumzie kuhusu uchumi ya nchi yetu, na pili atuambie kile anatarajia kufanyia miaka 5 ingine ijayo kabisa. Tena ningependa rais azungumzie kuhusu hii hali ya unga. Tunaangalia kwenye runinga wanatuambia kwamba unga ni shilingi 90, ili hali ukienda kwenye duka unapata unga ni 150, 130. Sasa tunashindwa ni aje, kunaendaje? Ndio.
Well, there you have it, Fred. The food prices, the escalating cost of living is still a matter that every Kenyan I'm trying to speak to here wants addressed very, very urgently. They're saying that they have been hearing from the media that the price of maize flour has dropped to 90 shillings per 2 kg bag. But then again, they're saying that they have not had or seen such commodities here in their area of locality. But they are saying that they're expecting the president will be speaking about that as well. So we are here also waiting for the president to begin his journey towards the verification of his document at the IEBC in Nairobi. And over to you now. We'll be back with some more. I'll be speaking to more Kenyans who will be coming, who are actually here and will be speaking to see what they expect from the president once he shows up here.
Thank you, Hassan Mugambi there with a very excited crowd at Pipeline stage. The crowd continue to meal around there waiting for President Uhuru Kenyatta to arrive, because that is where he will kick off his city tour as he heads towards the KICC, where he is expected to present his nomination papers later this afternoon. In a short while, we'll also be linking up with Stephen Leto, who is along Jogoo Road, which is also part of the route that the president will use. Once he leaves Pipeline stage, he'll head to the Donholm roundabout, then head through Jogoo Road into the city, addressing quite a number of making various stopovers and addressing members of the public as he heads towards the KICC. Back in studio, we're joined by another analyst, Kavore Kariuki. Karibu sana, Kavore Kariuki, a political analyst as well as an aspirant for the Langata parliamentary seat on an independent ticket. Karibu sana, Bwana Kariuki.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure you've been watching as we get to see some of the candidates for president presenting their nomination papers there at the KICC. One of them has already had his papers rejected. He has been given until 4 p.m. to make some few corrections and return back. Hopefully he will be able to beat that deadline, and that is Justice Z.O. Juma, he of the Justice and Freedom Party. Also lined up and already arrived present at the KICC is Professor Michael Wainaina Mwaura, an independent candidate, Joseph William Beganyaga, another independent candidate, and Kwajirongo Shakalaga, a candidate for the United Democratic Party. They're all waiting to be processed by the IEBC. Bwana Kavore Kariuki, looking at the independent candidates, and you can see them there trying to coalesce, I don't know, is it coincidence that the independent candidates seem to identify each other whenever they're at any forum and they decide to come together quickly? We've just seen the two independent candidates there with their running mates already chit-chatting as they wait to be processed by the IEBC.
Thank you, Fred, again for having me. It is not a fluke that these independent candidates are coalescing together, because they have something in common. They have listened to the call of Wanjiku, and that is why you will find that even their nature, as they stand together, you can tell there's almost an automatic bond, because Wanjiku has spoken loudly and clearly stated that we need leaders that are not corrupt. We need leaders that are full of integrity, like our constitution tells us in chapter 6. We need leaders who think about the ordinary person, who thinks about the marginalized peoples of our country, the poverty, the woman who is unable to feed her children at home. These are the people they have listened to, and that is why you see them stepping out to run for office, the highest office on the land, for president. And I'm actually thrilled to see that there's quite a number of independent candidates, because it only goes to show that our economy is maturing. And despite the little hiccups of being rejected because of signatures here and there, these are small little teething problems. I'm sure the one who's been asked to return at 4 p.m. will make it. I can see Joe Nyaga, who was rejected yesterday but has returned today, and he has the check now for 200,000. They're basically teething problems. There's a lot of anxiety when you run for office.
And excitement as well. Exactly.
Especially as an independent candidate, you don't have a party with structures in place and a legal department to guide you through the process. So the person who's basically guiding you is you yourself and the PA that you have hired. Like myself in Langata constituency, I basically have me and a PA that I've hired, and we are the ones who are perusing all those documents and trying to put it all together.
Yes.
And for us, we are actually going to be presenting on the 1st of June, which is this Thursday.
Okay.
So all power to our people, yes, especially the presidential candidates. I'm thrilled to see Kuru Okot made it through. Joe Nyaga, I'm sure, is going to make it through. Professor Wainaina, we hope will be coming back, including Juma. This is a step in the right direction for our country. Okay. And Fred, let me add this, that these independent candidates are really going to throw a quagmire or a spanner in the works in this election. Okay. If you recall, in 2013, President Uhuru Kenyatta won the election with only 50.5%. And this time around, when you have all these independent candidates who are going to be basically taking voters away from the two major horses.
Okay. But when it comes to mobilizing supporters, and you can see what exactly President Uhuru Kenyatta, the candidate for the Jubilee Party, is doing. You saw what Raila Odinga did yesterday as he went to present his nomination papers and proceeded for political rally. Just the kind of masses that accompany these candidates. And even just as Hassan Mugambi was talking to some few people there at Pipeline, the intention of that they indicated an intention to actually walk with the president to town to take him for this particular date to the IEBC to present his nomination papers. But when it comes to the independent party, or rather independent candidates, they do not have this strength, or rather, as you said, even just planning their papers, they do it alone, even mobilizing supporters. Do you think that they are at a disadvantage, Joy, that independent candidates are at a disadvantage even before they start?
For sure. You just heard what Kariuki has said. When you're running as an independent, you don't have the benefit of party structure to help mobilize for you. Because there are some people who will believe in you as a candidate, but there are a lot more who will support you as a candidate because they identify more with the party. And therefore, that mobilization helps them in garnering the numbers. However, in Kenya, there is a phenomenon that we cannot ignore. There are also some crowds for hire. You can go out and mobilize people and give them a little bit of motivation to accompany you on such forays.
Don't you think the independent candidates should consider doing such?
But that is resources. It depends on if that is a priority for you. For example, if you have a really tight budget, you're not going to be throwing away good money trying to get people to come along with, rather than using it maybe on part of your campaign, maybe doing a road show or something like that, because it's not cheap. If you're going to get a sizable crowd, you're going to spend quite a little bit of money. And remember, in this season also, any little thing can be construed to be vote buying. Vote buying is one of those things that can actually disqualify you from running. But when you have a huge party structure, you have many people and attempts to help you, it can be done without you dirtying your fingers. And therefore, the independent candidates have that uphill task, I think. And some of them we have seen are quite inexperienced. This is their first time around. So they would be unable to play the kind of politics that we see. For example, what the president is doing. Coming from the airport, the best way to get to KCC is just take Uhuru Highway. But he has chosen to take a detour into a very highly populated area and to make these stops so that he can whip up support and also sort of build his profile amongst these voters. Because, I mean, this is something that has been used to good effect. I grew up in Sharimoyo, and would be gotten out of class when President Moi would be passing with our flags on the road, just to show people that everybody is happy that the president is back.
Okay.
So I think that's what he's trying to do today, also build himself up.
There is a movement at the KICC. I do understand one of the candidates has been someone there to be processed. He's been called upon, and we need to join our reporter Sam Gituku to take us through what exactly is happening at the KICC as we speak. Sam?
Various media houses were interested in talking to the presidential aspirants that we had already spoken to, but ideally they have been asked by the IBC officials here to just take their seats because it's easy for them to manage them from their seats. But essentially what has been happening behind the scenes and also inside Chimba Hills Hall is that the different supporters and the seconders, the supporters of these presidential aspirants have been appearing before the IEBC officials, of course, at that very initial stage. What they did, because initially IEBC used to just receive papers from some of the supporters and then they call in the aspirants, and then after that an aspirant is cleared individually. But now what they've done, they have condensed all the three aspirants into one. So they have received the papers from the teams of Professor Michael Wanaina, the team of Kwajirongo, and also the team of Joe Nyaga. So essentially to process the papers, and then once the commissioner said they'll not leave that room until they have cleared all the three candidates. So they'll be going in starting with Professor Michael Onaina, then Kwajirongo, and later Joe Nyaga, so that they can all be processed within one sitting, or rather three consecutive sittings of the commissioners. But in as far as the considerations have to go in what IEBC is looking for, we had some reservations in as far as Professor Michael Wainaina is concerned. We had there were issues to do with the party membership of one of the seconders, or rather one of the supporters who is taking that position of proposer and the seconder. These are people who, if the candidate is independent, then they must not belong to any political party. But we had a situation that either the proposer or the seconder belong to one of the political parties in the country, and so that is one of the grounds that they may be looking for, that may be a challenge for the candidate. But that will be determined as soon as the aspirant goes into the hall to listen to the IEBC officials, but also to do with Joe Nyaga, the candidate, who is also an independent. In as far as consideration for suitability is concerned, what we understand is that they are not having to peruse the details so much, the documents so much, because they already had a sitting yesterday. Essentially today they will be looking at his check to ensure that it is worth 200,000 Kenya shillings and not 250,000 shillings as it were yesterday, and also to look at the code of conduct of the running mate whom we spoke to a few minutes earlier, saying that it has now been commissioned by the Commissioner for O2, who has definitely confirmed and verified that the information tabled there is true to their best of understanding. As of Kwajirongo, he's still waiting. Just a few moments ago, the IBC officials called his supporters to appear before them, that is the proposer and the seconder, so they can present the primary documents that he has, and they get to make that analysis and determine whether he is a candidate that they will be clearing or not as that goes. But essentially, back in the hall, just that, it's the aspirants having their moment, and their supporters also staying around to express their solidarity with their supporters. But at the IEBC hall, the commissioners are yet to get there, of course, because the IEBC officials, the primary IEBC officials, are still going through the documentation of Kwajirongo. As soon as they are done, then we'll be waiting or be expecting to be shown into the hall so that the candidates can be processed while there. But outside the building, if I can try just to peep through the window, there's not much activity, just preparations for where the political days that Uhuru Kenyatta will be addressing from, because we understand that as soon as he's done with his stopovers across town coming to the KICC, he will shortly after presenting his nomination papers address, should you call it a rally or a meeting, here at the KICC grounds. Of course, we have a team of reporters preparing for that. So any minute that we see any movement, we'll be sure to get back to you so that we can have a conversation on what will be happening here on the ground. Fred.
Thank you. Sam Gituku there with an update from the KICC, where presidential aspirants continue presenting their nomination papers to the IEBC. We'll be going back there momentarily for more updates. Let's now take a short break. Citizen Extra continues.